I'm Steve Dangle, and you're listening to Stick to the Pod.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Stick to the Pod. I'm your host Jono. It's season 2. It's episode 11. Not a lot of games to get through, so we're going to start with NIHL 2 North, just for a bit of a change. And let's jump into NIHL Division 2 lately. Let's see what happened in Division 2. So on Saturday the 9th of November, the unbeaten Sutton Sting took on the Bradford Bulldogs, and that unbeaten run stays exactly how it is. The Sutton Sting running out 10-2 victors over the Bradford Bulldogs. Also on Saturday, the other side in the division who are also unbeaten, it's the defending league champions, it's the Telford Tigers, and their unbeaten stretch also continues with an 8-2 victory at home to the Sheffield Titans. So just the 2 games on the Saturday and just the 2 on Sunday as well. The Bradford Bulldogs having a double weekend. They were at home to Nottingham Lions, and the Bradford Bulldogs coming out 7-3 victors in that one. And the Billingham Buccaneers, the playoff champions, took on Altrincham Aces in a hard-fought 3-2 game. And it was the Billingham Buccaneers who come from 2-0 behind to take all 3 points and the 3-2 victory. I did attend this game on Sunday night. It was just for something to do. There wasn't a lot on the telly. The Detroit Lions went on until 1:30 in the morning, so not a lot to do. Went along to watch the Bucks to see what was happening and just see how some of the Stars lads are getting on who play up for the senior side. It's a bit of a scruffy game. I think the teams probably tried to play more of a physical game than they needed to. I think the Buccaneers probably need to rely on some of that skill that they've got. I think if they relied just on their skill set alone, they could have beat the Aces quite comfortably. Aces had Hawks netminder Bailey Thompson in net. Bailey Hodgkinson, sorry. He backs up the Hawks most weekends, but getting some well-earned ice time at the Aces, along with Ronnie Grimes. Now, I don't know if these moves have been made permanent. There's nothing out there on social media, but Ronnie Grimes and Bailey Hodgkinson both icing for the Aces to give them that little bit extra, but it wasn't to be. Unfortunately, this game was officiated with a 2-man system, which for me, senior hockey just isn't good enough, even in Division 2. Even if it was between 2 teams, don't make a single hit a game any week. It shouldn't happen. It was the only game on in the region that day, and also there was an official walking around, so I'm sure there's something that could have been done to make sure there was 3 officials on this game. As it was, a few 5-minute penalties were handed out, some rightly so, some wrongly. Young lad Price got a 5+ game. He backdoored a player and he wouldn't answer the bell. He kept the face cage on. Dops will probably handle him correctly. I think he's probably got 4 or 5 games coming, suspension. I think Billingham's Jamie Patterson got 5 minutes fighting, even though he pushed him over from behind. So I'm not sure what's going to happen from that one. I don't know if there's going to be a review in place, if that's what's necessary. But yeah, a bit of a strange one officiating wise. Unfortunately, I think it was 2 linesmen in charge of a game that were well out of their depth. 2 very good linesmen, well within their right, just not strong enough to make the calls when it matters. Aces went 2-0 up. Even at that point, I was still confident of a Bucks win, to be honest. And I think it was only a matter of time before that would happen. And it happened 3rd period. The Bucks got themselves ahead. And for the last 5-6 minutes, they controlled the puck. They kept it in the offensive zone. And the Aces didn't really have an answer or a chance after there. So yeah, a physical game. Probably a game that could have had a lot more skill in it if the sides chose to play that way. But it certainly wasn't to be. They chose the physical route, which I don't mind. Obviously, teams want to have an ideology. I just think both teams are probably more skillful than what they showed on that Sunday evening. So just to quickly run through the ladle scores then. From Saturday, it was a Sutton Sting hosting the Bradford Bulldogs. Sutton winning 10-2. Telford also at home on Saturday, beating the Sheffield Titans 8-2. And then on Sunday, the Billingham Buccaneers hosting Altrincham Aces and taking the points 3-2. And the final fixture of that weekend for the Ladle Conference was the Bradford Bulldogs beating the Nottingham Lions 7-3. So what does that do for the league tables and the cup tables? Obviously, we're covering the cup tables a little bit more now since we are getting a little bit closer to having some final positions. And there we have it. It's the Sutton Sting, still top of the table, playing the most games in the division. They've played 13, won 13, and a maximum of points of 39. Also applies to the Telford Tigers, who also have 10 games played and 10 wins, giving them 30 points. And the games between the two sides are going to be very, very interesting. The best of the rest, Billingham Buccaneers, played 9 games, 7 wins, the 2 losses. The 2 losses just against Sutton Sting. They have 21 points, so 9 points off the Tigers, and played a game less. 7 points behind them is the Kingston Sharks in 4th. Played 11 games, 4 wins, an overtime win, and 6 losses for their 14 points. 5th place, Coventry Blaze, 8 games played, 4 wins, 4 losses for 12 points. Altrincham Aces 6th with 11 games played, 4 wins, 7 losses, 12 points. The Sheffield Titans, also 11 games played. They have 3 wins, an overtime loss, and 7 losses for 10 points. The Bradford Bulldogs are identical in 11 games played, 3 wins, 1 overtime loss, and 7 losses for 10 points. 9th place is the Deeside Ducks with 1 win, 1 overtime win, 6 losses, and 5 points. And the league's basement boys, the Nottingham Lions 2, 12 games played, just the 1 win, 11 losses and 3 points. So how is it looking in the Cups? In Group A, we are not decided yet, but it's not far off. Sutton Sting are top and qualified, 7 from 7 for 21 points. The Buccaneers in second with 6 games played, 4 wins and the 2 losses against Sutton Sting for 12 points. That's a 9-point gap that won't be getting overturned. Kingston Sharks are in third with 6 games played and 5 points, 7 points behind. Sorry, I'm just trying to do some quick maths there and just seeing what's going on with who and where. 4th place is the Sheffield Titans on 4 points, and the Nottingham Lions 6 games played and 3 points. Billingham have games left against Sheffield Titans and the Sheffield Titans. Both of their games left against the Sheffield Titans, which you think definitely would confirm their place in the semi-finals of the Cup, where they are likely to meet the Telford Tigers, who are currently top of Group B with 5 games played and currently unbeaten with 15 points. Altrincham Aces in third, who are 6 points behind the Blaze. Got a bit of work to do to catch the Coventry Blaze, the Aces with 6 points. The Bradford Bulldogs, 6 games played, 4 points. And the Deeside Ducks, who can't qualify, at the bottom there with 2 points. So I'm just trying to look. Telford have got 3 games left, and that is against Bradford, Coventry and Deeside. So the big game would be there potentially is Coventry. I'm just trying to think who they Telford Tigers, Deeside for their 2 remaining games. That'll put them on 15. So yeah, I believe the Coventry Blaze just need the 1 win, although very doable for the Aces to win their last 3 games as well. But the maximum they can get is obviously the 15 points, which is obviously if Coventry win one of their games. It might just be the Aces who take this. I think they've got the better result between the two sides. All a bit complicated trying to use them bloody fixture grids, as I said last week. Anyway, back into Division 2. We'll quickly run through their fixtures for next week. See who's where, see if we're going to get a bumper weekend of hockey. And it's certainly looking like that we're going to, with 3 fixtures on the Saturday and 4 on the Sunday. So on Saturday, the Coventry Blaze host the Kingston Sharks. The Sutton Sting host the Billingham Buccaneers, which will be a big game for the Buccaneers if they've got any hopes of catching the top 2. Telford Tigers host the Altrincham Aces. In league and cup action, the Aces take on the Bradford Bulldogs. That's probably a must-win for the Aces if they've got any cup ambitions. Deeside Ducks take on the Telford Tigers, which is also league and cup. Nottingham Lions take on the Sutton Sting. And last but not least, the Sheffield Titans host the Billingham Buccaneers in what is a league and cup game as well. So that is it for the Ladler. Moving swiftly on to the Morley Conference, where we have do we have any shocks? Do we have any upsets? Do we have any surprises in these results? I think we have one surprise. And I think we have a surprise scoreline as well, which we'll talk about as we get to them. So we will kick off in Leeds on Saturday night, where the Billingham Stars visited the Leeds Knights for the first time. It was the Stars' first trip in league play. The scoreline from the first period, by all accounts, will make the game look a lot closer than it was. For those of you that have probably watched StarCast, you probably heard us go over it. It was an easy night's work from start to finish for the Billingham Stars. Yes, they went 1-0 down, but they still were never going to lose that game. They created so many chances. I think the shots on goal, flatter the Leeds Knights. I think they believe that they had 17 or 18 in the end. I mean, it was probably closer to 10 or less. 2 or 3 shots in the first, same again in the second, and even less in the third, if I'm being honest. It was a very long night for the Leeds side. Out of the 2 performances I've seen of Leeds, this was far the worst from them. They certainly looked like a team that had just been put together on Saturday night, whereas on a couple of weeks ago at the Forum, they looked more of a unit. They played more together. I don't know how much or how often these lads train in together, but they did look like a team of individuals on Saturday night. The only main talking point was the Ben Greenough hit. He hit Bennett, I believe it was. At the time, I thought the call on the ice was correct, which was 5 minutes for boarding. And I would back that call 100 times out of 100. Just like I said, with the hit to the head, it needs to be a 5 in a game no matter what. This penalty was correct on the ice, for my opinion. But this is where DOPS need to do their job and be right. If the penalty is deemed not a suspension or not that severe, once you've looked back at the footage, then rule accordingly. As I've seen the video footage of Greenhouse's hit, I've been fortunate enough. The hit was shoulder to shoulder. The hit was in the face-off circle, so it shows that he was some way off the boards. But unfortunately, the hit was hard enough to send him in the boards. Does that make it boarding? Absolutely not. Does it make it a bad hit? Absolutely not. But at the time, it was called, at first view, at first glance, the speed of it all, the call was right. But the footage does show something completely different, and this is where DOPS need to get it right and say, you know what, call on the ice stands, 5 minute major on the ice, I can accept that, but no further punishment. Obviously, Ben will get his penalty points, that's the way it works. But even if DOPS deemed it as a 2 minute penalty, downgrade it to a 2 minute penalty, and obviously that affects the penalty point system as well. But we'll see what happens there. If Ben comes away with a ban, I'd be shocked, but then I wouldn't be surprised. This is DOPS. I keep getting told it's a difficult job for them. They don't have they don't have the time. If they don't have the time and they can't do the job properly, let's just get rid of it and let's just go back to decisions that are made on the ice by the referees, and we'll just go back to that if that's what it is. But if we've got DOPS and we're going to use DOPS, they need to be watching full games, and that's just my opinion on that one. Back to the game, other major talking points. Ian Brown on a goal, just running away with goals at the moment. Scored another 5 for the Stars on Saturday. I think it's 26 he's got on the season so far, so he started the season flying and in good form, which he's going to need to be in with a massive run-in that the Stars have got leading into the new year. As for Leeds, like I say, I mentioned them. I am just going to put it down to one of those nights. Just nothing went for them. They did look like a team of individuals, I'm afraid. They did look very poor, and I think obviously once the Stars equalised just at the end of the first period, it sucked out what energy and whatever hope that they did have right out with them, and then they were just chasing shadows for the remainder of the game. So like I say, it was a 10-1 victory for the Stars. I'll just go through the goal scorers for you now. Roland Gritton's on the score sheet, Ian Brown scoring 5, Chris Sykes, Callum Wilkinson, Sam Dowd getting his first in a Stars uniform, and Joe Walls. And I believe it was announced originally as Edgar Vengus for the Leeds goal. We now know and believe that is to be Daintiff's goal. Saturday's other fixture was the fixture of potentially the weekend with the other fixtures that were going on. I know there was a big game on the Sunday between D-side and Solihull, but I feel as though the game of the weekend was Hull D-side. And looking at the scoreline, it suggests it was the game of the weekend. For me, it was a game that D-side shouldn't be losing, not with that roster. The result shows me there's still a lot of holes in that team, whether it's a coaching thing, quality thing, whether it's defence or in goal. There's something just not quite missing there to be shipping in 9 goals with the talent that team has. I know there's goals in the team, but losing out 9-6 at Hull, tough place to go. I know the Stars have been there and won twice. And D-side have got title ambitions themselves with players like Jake Witkowski, Jacob Hayek, Ross Kennedy, Jared Dickinson, all top players, Gary Simpson, all top players who will take you to a league title. But obviously something's just not clicking and getting them over the line. A 9-6 victory for the Hull Jets at home, who haven't been all that at home this year. I think they've lost 3 times so far, which is only what they lost last year in the whole of the season. Vlad Volkanov's getting on the score sheet twice, along with Richard Hager getting 2. Brammer, Taylor, Britton, Kent and Barwell also scoring for the Hull Jets. D-side's main man at the moment is Jacob Hayek. Don't know where Jake Witkowski is. Haven't seen him on the goal scoring column for a while now. Ross Kennedy and Gary Simpson getting the goals for D-side. Got 4 there. I'm missing 2 scorers. Oh dear, never mind. But yeah, that's Hayek with 2, Kennedy and Simpson, and 2 scorers missing. Moving into Sunday then, and the Lions were heading into Blackburn with confidence, knowing that they'd won there early in the season. But it wasn't to be. The Hawks get their revenge. They take the game 4-1. New signer McKinney on the score sheet again. Import David Zhirinox, Watson and Crawley all on the score sheet for the Blackburn Hawks. And Fisher for the Lions. He's one that you won't see much of throughout the season. The Solihull Barons being shut out. It's not very often you can tell me that Dan, Phil Mackay and Nicholas Otterson have come away empty-handed from a game. Maybe you guys can tell me the last time that happened. The D-side Dragons put their number 1 netminder in on Sunday night for the home game against the Solihull Barons and take the game 4-0. Dickinson, Shaw, Jacob Hayek again and Lovell scoring. Again, no Jake Witkowski in the goal scoring column. Moving in to the rest of Sunday's fixtures, the Sheffield and Leeds played a big game in Sheffield. And I think the Leeds were probably suffering a bit of a hangover from the night before, losing out 3-0 to the Sheffield Scimitars, who get another win on the board and move level on points with Leeds. Wickens and Crawshaw scoring 2 goals and Wickerson getting the 3rd for the Sheffield Scimitars. Obviously the win does pull them away from the Widnes Wild as well, who are starting to look like sorry lonely figures right at the bottom of the table. Although they nearly sprung the biggest surprise of the season and took the Warriors all the way. I believe this game was 4-4 until very late moments of the game. The Warriors eventually running out 7-4 victors in this one. As I said, it was 4-4 going late into the game. Phil Edgar, Carl Queenan, Wood and Lucas all on the score sheet for the Warriors, and a Kippen hat-trick including an empty net goal got them over the line. For the Widnes Wild, who did welcome back Matty Barlow, I don't know where we heard that one first, but yes, Mr. Barlow back at the Widnes Wild. Hopkins scoring 2, Gilbert and James all on the score sheet for the Widnes Wild, who lose out 7-4. But we're very happy with their performance. So just quickly run through the Morley fixtures and results from last weekend. And on the Saturday, it was the Hull 9, D-side 6. Leeds Knights 1, defending league champions Billingham Stars 10. Moving into Sunday, title hopefuls Blackburn Hawks 4, Nottingham Lions 1, D-side Dragons 4, Solihull Barons 0, Sheffield Scimitars 3, the Leeds Knights 0, and the Widnes Wild 4, and the Whitley Warriors 7. So how does that look this week in the league tables? Let's have a look at them morally. So as we are, it's still defending champion Billingham Stars at the top of the table, playing 13 games. They are 9 points clear currently from second place, who've also played 13 games, along with Deeside Dragons, who are 13 games in. So let's run from 1 to 10. Billingham Stars, 13 games played, 12 wins, 1 loss, 36 points. Blackburn Hawks, 13 games, 9 wins, 4 losses, 27 points. Also, Deeside Dragons, 13 games, 9 wins, 4 losses, 27 points. In fourth, it's the Hull Jets with 13 games played, 8 wins, 1 overtime win, 4 losses and 26 points. Fifth is the Whitley Warriors, 12 games played, 7 wins, 1 overtime loss and 4 regulation losses for 22 points. Sixth place, and a shock and a surprise to many, 12 games played, 6 wins, 1 overtime win and already 5 losses for the Solihull Barons and 20 points. Nottingham Lions, 11 games played, 5 wins, 6 losses for 15 points. Sheffield Scimitars, 14 games played, 2 wins, an overtime loss, 11 losses and 7 points. Leeds Knights, 9th place, 13 games played, 2 wins, an overtime loss, 10 losses for 7 points. And it's the Widnes Wild with just that 1 overtime win to their name in 12 games for 2 points. So having a quick look through the amount of goals scored by teams, and it paints the picture of what we'd all expect, really. The Stars with 91, the Blackburn Hawks 78, the Deeside Dragons 69, Hull Jets 57, Whitley Warriors 51, Solihull Barons 51, Nottingham Lions 40, Sheffield Scimitars 28, Leeds Knights 29, and the Widnes Wild 11. We're looking at the cup tables. I ain't going to try and work anything out because, like I said, the grids are a nightmare. They are not my friend, and I hate trying to work out who's playing who in dilemma games. However, it is the Deeside Dragons, due to playing more games, are top of Group A. They are 7 games in with 5 wins, 2 losses and 15 points. Billingham Stars, 4 games, 4 wins, 12 points. Whitley Warriors, 5 games, 3 wins, 2 losses, 9 points. Nottingham Lions, 6 games, 3 wins, 3 losses, 9 points. And Sheffield Scimitars all cupped out with 8 games played and 8 losses for no points. So it still does look kind of close when you look at the points, but Nottingham Lions have got 2 games left. Whitley Warriors have got 3 games left. The Billingham Stars have got 4 games left. And the Deeside Dragons have got 1 game left. The Dragons' game left is home to the Billingham Stars, so a lot riding on that one. But I believe if the Stars just beat Nottingham, that should be enough to send them through. But I ain't going to do any maths or working out, because they obviously do have the Warriors left to play twice in between Christmas and New Year. And obviously the holiday type of season, time of year, we don't know what available we're like for either team. So that's your league and cup tables. So let's move into what's next for these teams. So we'll jump straight into it because we do have an action-packed weekend. We do have a Super Sunday and everything that's going on in the Ladler Conference as well. We will have a bumper episode next week, and I might even try and get a guest on and talk through a few bits and bobs of what's going on. Might get an old voice on that you've heard already before this season. Might get someone new, just see what I've got in the pipeline and see who's busy and etc. Anyway, it is Saturday the 16th of November, and it's the Billingham Stars hosting the Widnes Wild. Also on Saturday, the Hull Jets host the Nottingham Lions. Tough game. Saturday also is the Sheffield Scimitars hosting the Solihull Barons, who need to get some wins put together and quickly. Moving into Sunday, and it's another big game. It's the Billingham Stars versus the Hull Jets. Also another big game. It's the It's the Leeds Knights hosting the Nottingham Lions. You better believe it. It's another big game. It's the Solihull Barons hosting the Blackburn Hawks. You better believe it again, it's another big game with the Whitley Warriors hosting the Deeside Dragons. And last but not least, it's also a big game in the context of the league and standings and chasing for playoff spots. It's the Widnes Wild hosting the Sheffield Scimitars. So how about that Sunday, folks? We've got 5 massive games on Sunday. So as well as watching your own team I'm sure you're going to be glued to your phones looking at results here and there. Can Widnes finally get that first regulation win on the board at home to the Scimitars and close that gap between them and Leeds? Can Leeds get a statement win over the Nottingham Lions and get a little bit closer to them? Can Solihull Barons build some momentum and get 6-point weekend and try and put some pressure on the top half of the table? Deeside, after a good win on Sunday, will want to go to Hillheads using that confidence. And the Whitley Warriors will also have an eye on a big win that could put them back in contention for the top 4 spaces and a shot at the league title. So yeah, some massive games with a lot riding on it. Going back to the Solihull Blackburn game, this is also a cup game that'll have huge consequences for what happens in that division. If Solihull have got eyes on some silverware, currently with the amount of league losses they've got, the cup may just be the way forward for them. So yeah, what an absolute super Sunday we've got next weekend, and I can't wait to get back behind the microphone and talking to you guys all about it. And like I say, I might see what the old pal Graham Hamilton's up to and see if he wants to come on and discuss what will be a fantastic weekend, because obviously they have a huge game in Solihull as well. So we'll take it from there. As for signing news, Matty Barlow obviously announced back at Widnes. The Blackburn Hawks have announced another junior. As you can see, I struggled with the stats and information tonight. Mr. Scott is on holiday, so no game sheets this week available for times of goals and penalties and shots on goal and stuff like that. Hopefully we'll all be back to normal next week. Bear with me one moment while I find some of this signing news. I can't find it, but I'm pretty sure the Hawks have signed an Aces defenseman, 16-year-old, on a 2-way to help bolster their defensive core. I think the Sheffield Scimitars recently announced Crofts, which we knew a long time ago. Other than that, all very quiet. Dops, we won't know until the weekend. Obviously, key ones to look out for is, will Bed Greenhow get a ban? I believe there was a fight in the last 2 minutes of the game between Hull and Deeside. That should result in bans if the league are true to the word. But no, that's just about everything, folks. That's all things covered this time around. Not the longest of episodes, like I say, not many games to get stuck into. Not much stat available either. Obviously, the only issue is we're recording this early in the week. We don't get the DOPS information. So be sure to keep an eye out on your social medias for that one. And as for you fans, I'll ask you again, is there anything you want to see or hear? Would you want me to put graphics out weekly of the league tables or various stats? If that's the things if that's the sort of thing you want to see, I could do more posting from the social media accounts. Maybe do, especially for star games that I attend, I can certainly maybe do end of period updates, jump on, do a quick little live or do a quick little video and upload it straight away to the page. Something I could do for you guys. But yeah, give me a shout, let me know if you would like to see or hear any of that. The email address is sticktothepod@gmail.com. Otherwise, just get in touch with the pages, whether it's on Twitter, on Facebook, or even drop comments on an episode on YouTube. And if you do listen on YouTube, please like and subscribe. It does help. And also for the social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, please like and share those pages. Please like and share when new episodes drop. Let's get it out there and let's get everyone involved in the North and get them involved with NIHL North 1 and 2 and we'll get them falling in love with our great sport. That's all I've got for now. I've been your host, Jono, and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye for now.